Rotimi, good afternoon. Thank you so much for joining us.
Good afternoon. So good to be here.
Delighted to have you join us. And now we'll be looking at party registration, political party registration, that is. And quite a number of you have said during the course of several conversations on this platform to saying, INEC would not be registering some of this party. And then that is parroting what is being said by some political actors. We've had someone like the former governor of Rivers State, Rotimi, Amici, saying it might be a little difficult to have these parties registered. And quite a number of people have also re-echoed that INEC is making it a little difficult to have new political party register. Perhaps that's the reason why they went on with the coalition with the ADC. But that's not the conversation now. Today we'll be looking at what it takes to actually have parties registered in the country. And already from the report, it says that 12 additional applications from association seeking registration as political parties have come before the electoral umpire, INEC that is. As at the 23rd of June, INEC announced that 110 associations have submitted letters of intent to be registered as political parties. So what does it take actually to be registered as a political party? And to a certain degree, some Nigerians know what it takes to deregister a party. Good to Mr. Oyekanmi is here with us. Sir, can you confirm the number? I mean, we're seeing 110 plus 12 new parties?
It's now 122.
122 parties.
We got 12 additional letters of intent since the last time we revealed 110.
Oh, wow. That is a lot. So school us on what it takes, really, because the impression is that some people are putting out is that INEC is making it a little difficult to have party registered. So what is the procedure to getting a party registered or an association registered as a political party?
Thank you very much for this opportunity. It's not true that the Commission is making it difficult for associations to register. We actually released what we refer to as regulations and guidelines for political parties since 2022. We didn't even know that applications will come in this manner. Although we receive applications every now and then, it is this regulation and guidelines that guide our approach to treating applications from associations. And the details are in the public domain, but let me just run through some of it. What an association is expected to do first is to submit what we refer to as letter of intent. With that letter of intent, you will submit also your proposed name, symbol, and acronym. That's the first step. And then the Commission, within 90 days of receipt, will now look at the acronym, look at the name, look at the symbol, and check if it clashes with existing political parties and other areas that will be confusing to Nigerians. And if approved, we give a response within 90 days. Now, after giving that approval, the association is expected to, within 30 days, pay what is referred to as administrative fee. There's a fee to be paid. Now, if within 30 days the association fails to pay this administrative fee, then the process is suspended. But if the fee is paid, then the INEC chairman will issue what we also refer to as access code to the chairman or secretary of the association for the download and submission of a form called Form EC15A1. This form has quite a number of questions which must be answered in full and must be submitted with the following documents. The first one is the constitution of the political party. We expect that you have a constitution. The second one is the proposed manifesto of the political parties of the association. Then we also expect the title, deed, or tenancy agreement of lawful occupation of the association's headquarters in the Federal Capital Territory. That's a major requirement. We also expect to submit the register of members of the association, which must include their names, their addresses, their phone numbers, and their email addresses. And finally, you submit also a sworn affidavit, which must be done by the national chairman of the association to confirm the authenticity of the information submitted and the contents of the document submitted. So if the commission gets that, we then proceed to vet all the documents that to submit, and we are required to respond within 60 days.
Okay.
Now, our response will depend on the documents that you submit. If the documents are not correct, we let you know. If the documents are correct, we let you know. However, if in the course of vetting we discover that you submitted fake documents, that's a problem, and we will not proceed with it. So in a nutshell, that's exactly what it takes.
All right. It sounds easy on paper. And the good thing that you mentioned the number of days it takes for the vetting process to be done, because we want to look at the length to take from when this application is put forward with all of the documents to when they get their final go to be seen and recognized as a political party. Now, with all that, I'm a little curious. With the first set of 110, does all of the process start at the same time, or it just depends on how it comes?
No, it doesn't start at the same time. Like I said, when we issued the press statement detailing 110 associations, you will see that within a week or two, you now have 12 applications. So applications come in almost on a daily or weekly basis, and we treat them as they come. But there is a general thing. You cannot register a political party 12 months, not later than 12 months to the general election. So we expect that if you want to participate in the general election, for instance, maybe in 2020, for the sake of this discussion, we expect that you will have started your process well in advance to give enough room for all the processes to be observed so that you are in good state to be able to participate. Otherwise, if you don't intend to participate in the general election, you can still submit your application and we'll process it. And if it is approved, you will just be registered, and then you can participate in the next available election that you are qualified to participate in.
All right. So given the fact that these people have put in the application at this point in time, they're well within the healthy window. So if they want to run for, say, 2027 election, if they do qualify and scale through meeting all of the requirements, that is. Now, to bring the matter of those who, for example, the other party, the Alliance for All Democratic Alliance Party, where it felt like there was an allegation that the process has been slow. Is it a matter of not meeting some of the requirements, or is still going through the process?
Actually, we don't have any application before us. That's the truth. What we have right now are letters of intent. Like I explained, you must submit your letters of intent with the proposed name, symbol, and acronym of the association, or the proposed political party, rather. So we have to, first of all, approve that. If we approve that, you then pay we'll communicate to you that it has been approved. Then you are required to pay a fee. When you pay a fee, it is only then that the application process starts. We then issue the access code to the national chairman of the association to upload those documents that I talked about a couple of days ago. So we don't have any application before us. What we have are letters of intent.
Yeah. Okay, that clarifies it. The letter of intent sent, and so far 122 of them. 122 of them have been received
exactly
by INEC. I remember prior to the last election some time back, some parties were deregistered because they didn't have representation in any of maybe the parliament, state or federal or any office whatsoever. So the hands of the electoral umpire was forced to deregister them. I'm a little curious, do we have like a ceiling we're working with? We know it's a multi-party state and we can go as high as we want. But is there a cap that INEC is looking at this time around to saying, let's keep it sizable at a certain number range?
No, the Commission does not have a cap because the Constitution does not give us the power to establish the maximum number. The Constitution gives associations as many as possible as they are willing to, put the application forward and register. So we can have as many as 200 political parties or 500 political parties as long as they meet the requirements. The only thing is that there is also a process of deregistration because if you don't meet certain criteria, when we conduct audits, then of course we will deregister. Like you said, we deregistered some political parties some years ago because they did not meet the threshold. And that's why we have 19 political parties now. Remember, for the 2019 general election, we had about 91 political parties. So it was after that the Commission then conducted an audit and deregistered about 76, 77 of them. So the political parties know everything is in the public domain. The powers given to the Commission to audit political parties, and one of them is that you must win an election. If you don't win an election at the national level, at the state level, at the federal capital territory level, then of course you don't have any business calling yourself a political party because all parties are assumed to be national parties. There are no regional parties and there are no state parties.
Indeed. So no cap and all of that. But if we have a case where a group make up a political party and they were deregistered and the composition changes a little and about to register a new political party, what does the law say about that?
No, you can come back and register, but you cannot use the name or acronym of the one that has been deregistered. For instance, if you say AA party, no, let me not say A because AA exists. If you say ZZ party, there's no ZZ party. You have a ZZ party, and that party was deregistered. If the sponsors of ZZ party want to register again, they have to come up with a new name and a new acronym. So because it's a fresh application. Because as far as INEC is concerned, ZZ is dead, having been deregistered.
So it doesn't matter if it's the same people coming with a new name, with a new.
No, it doesn't matter. The Constitution did not place a ban on individuals who were members of a deregistered political party from registering another one. The Constitution is silent on that.
Oh, all right. This one is, you would think it's common knowledge that INEC no longer funds political party, but there are people who still calling and say, we have a number of these people trying to register political party because they get some sort of incentive from the Commission. Could you help again to clarify that?
No, we don't fund political parties. That was done some time ago, so many years ago, but that has stopped. So if you want to register a political party, you must make solid arrangement for your funding.
All right. Make solid arrangement for your funding for those who are pretty much in doubt. I think the reason we're having so many of them is because there's some sort of financial incentive comes from INEC. It doesn't at this point in time. Let's look at some comments that have come in, and we'll just let you go about your business, sir. Oh, this person sent a voice message. Let's hear him out.
Good afternoon, Kim, and good afternoon to your guests in the studio. I'm talking about the INEC spokesperson. I just want to ask, because he had said that what they've received are letters of intent, no application yet. So I just want to find out what's the time limit for INEC to process these letters of intent and give approval for the association to now start the process of application for a political party. How much time does this take for the INEC to vet these letters of intent to them before the process itself starts? Is there a timeline to it? We would like to know. My name is Patrick.
All right, that is one from Patrick. Let's take the second one quickly, Mr. Oyekanmi, and we'll give you time to respond. Hello. Oh dear. All right. Sorry about that. Now, the letter of intent, is it also 60 days, like you mentioned earlier on?
No. I said that the letters of intent, if we get it, the commission will, within 90 days, respond. That's what I said. That's within 3 months, respond to the letters of intent to find out whether, we will have conducted our audit to find out whether the acronym, the name that you submitted, the symbol, do not clash with others and our internal processes. So we have 90 days to respond to that. So when we respond in 90 days, then if it's a yes, and then you now have, the association now has 30 days, to make payment of the required fee, and then once that payment is made, we then issue the access code to the chairman or secretary of the association for the association to download a particular form called EC15A1 to then fill and submit together with some documents that we will have to vet. Those documents include the constitution of the party, it includes the manifesto, it also includes the title, deed, or tenancy agreement of lawful occupation of the association's headquarters in the FCT. So that's a major requirement. And then you also have to submit the register of members of the association, which must include their names, their addresses, their phone numbers, and email addresses. I talked about the physical address, the email addresses. And then, not just that, the national chairman of the association must submit a sworn affidavit, to confirm the authenticity of information and the documents submitted.
All right.
So that's the process.
That's the process. Give us 30 seconds to go on this very quick commercial break. We'll take one more call and let Mr. Oyekanmi go about his business.
Mega Billion promo is finally here, and I'm hearing from Monday to
Hello, my name is Kimberly. I'm the host of Hard Facts, and I bring you the biggest stories driving conversation every weekday here on 95.1 Nigeria Info Hard Fact Show. I love to get your opinion and conjectures, but the facts you cannot dispute here on Hard Facts. Join me and let's talk. Yes, it is, and we're talking with the Chief Press Secretary to the INEC Chairman, Mr. Rotimi Oyekanmi, on what it takes to get a party registered as a political party or an association. The presented letter of intent to INEC to get the final call to be recognized by state and people as a political party. And I see my phone lines are buzzing. If you have questions tied to the conversation we have with Mr. Oyekanmi, I'm sure he's going to give us like 5 more minutes or 10 more minutes. It depends, sir. We'll just take a few of the calls and then we'll let him continue his day. Hello. Go ahead with your question quickly.
Hello, good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon to our guests. My name is Mike When Wind Blows.
Go ahead, Mike.
Yes, my question, one, is related to this conversation, and one is not related, but though they are closely related, though.
Keep it close to what we're talking about. Go ahead.
I know. What I'm saying is, as INEC as an umpire, Mr. Oyekanmi, please, if in your private time with your chairman or maybe your INEC, I don't know how the committee or whatever you can call it, if you can ask INEC as an organization, as an umpire, as a referee in our elections, having to decide who qualifies to vote and which party qualify, which association qualifies as a party. Like in a game of football, how can, if the referee determine which club qualify the tournament and then which player qualify to play in the tournament, how will match fixing not happen? If Mr. Oyekanmi can chip in that conversation with the chairman or whoever in INEC, if they can reach us back to say INEC's role in deciding who qualify to vote, Nigerians who are already documented and certified, then INEC will come and register.
Hello, Mike. All right, I think he's having a network problem. We'll take this call. It'll be the last one. Hello.
Hello, Kimberly.
Yes.
I'm calling from Gwagwalada.
You're welcome.
Before current agitation by the coalition organization or group, INEC has kept silent. They are not putting us in picture. What are the criteria for forming a new political party until the current agitation? And people are afraid. They can no longer trust INEC. That is why the current INEC, as presently constituted, cannot carry us the promise line electorally. Thank you.
All right. So you don't have like a direct question to ask. Mr. Oyekanmi, any response to the calls that have come through?
Thank you very much. I'm happy with the interactions. First of all, the gentleman that spoke first talked about INEC determining who is qualified to vote or which political party is qualified to contest. There is nothing like that at all. We don't determine who is qualified to vote. It is the constitution of this country that stipulates who is qualified to be a voter and set criteria for that. And of course, the power given to INEC to register political parties and the subsidiary regulations that we have established to say, okay, if you want to register as a political party, these are the criteria you must satisfy. And like I said, what we are using at the moment for all those who are submitting letters of intent, these regulations were put in place in 2022. So at the time we put the regulations together, we didn't even know that a coalition was going to take place or anything like that. And it's in the public domain. Everybody can go to our website and get the document and read it and get all the information. And if you want additional information, you can call us. We will be glad to answer. So the second one again, concerning the qualification, no, a voter is qualified to vote. Once you're in Nigeria, you are 18 or above. You have your permanent voters card as it is at the moment. You are free to vote at the polling unit where you register. So the only encumbrance you have is that you cannot vote anywhere, and that's of course is also a matter of law. You cannot register in Ogun State and come to FC to want to vote. No, the law says you must vote where you register. So that's the only encumbrance. But every other thing. Political parties are free to contest elections. Voters who are registered are free to cast their ballots.
All right, last comment. It's clear INEC might be making registration of political parties very difficult because there's no reason why a requirement and forms made available would be political parties in order to make registration quick and flawless. Why would an aspiring political party wait for registration of party logo and acronym before a form is now generated to allow them start looking for answers to the questions listed in the form? Instead of making it open to allow these would-be parties to have them on time before sending any letter of intent. Neme Inasokoro. So they're just still other thoughts who seem to think that the procedure on itself, on its own from INEC, might be a little too cumbersome and might drag the entire process there. So you have said we're looking at about 3 months for the first one when the letter of intent, the maximum of that period, and then the entire...
my sister, the important thing is for serious associations to do these things in good time. So general elections are organized every 4 years. If you intend to form a political party, I don't think it's something you just wake up and say you want to do. It requires careful planning. And careful planning means that you must put structures in place. It's very important. For instance, you can't send your letter of intent if you don't have your headquarters in the FCT. That's what the law says. So you know that if you want to register a political party, one of the things you need to put in place is get a rented apartment or build a structure that will serve as your headquarters. So these are, for instance, within 2 weeks, we received 20 additional applications. For the gentleman who is saying that we make it cumbersome, it takes time to go through these applications. And we have the benchmark, we have the checklist that we have to go through before you are registered. Otherwise, if you don't conduct due diligence, what you'll find is that you have two political parties having the same acronym, having the same symbol, and that will confuse voters on election day. So we look at the process, and then we look at the time it will take us in view of the developments we see every day, and then we proceed, to do what is needed to be done. But like I said, for those who think we made it cumbersome, remember just 2019 behind us here, there were over 90 parties that contested. We have 90 political parties, over 90 political parties at that time. So how did we do that? I mean, if it is true that INEC didn't want to register political parties or we're out to frustrate, we wouldn't have registered as many as that. But it is not for us. We are just obeying what the Constitution says, and we are just executing the mandate given to us by the law.
All right, executing the mandate. I see my phone lines buzzing, but I feel like the questions will still go around almost the same concerns. Quite a number of the comments coming in still believe it can be a simpler process. But we'll leave it at that for now. And I'm sure a lot of people will just be counting down to see how soon and how many of these parties would scale through to be registered as political parties at the end of the day. All right, then. Mr. Oyekanmi, thank you very much for your time. We truly do appreciate you making the effort to just give this bit of enlightenment and clarification on air. Thank you very much, sir.
Thank you for the opportunity.
Appreciate you. Enjoy the rest of your day.
Thank you.
All right, just spoke with Mr. Rotimi Oyekanmi from INEC and what it takes to have a political party registered, and he spelled out the process. So far, 122 political letter of intent has been received. How many will scale through, will meet all the criteria, and how many of them will beat also the time stipulated for all of this to happen? And most importantly, I think one of the biggest one is the ADA that are sent in their letter of intent. They're the ones who started all of this, giving the impression like it must be a difficult process. But we'll get to see how it works. I know quite a number, like he mentioned, it had to be deregistered because there was proliferation of political parties, not a lot of grassroots structure built enough to make them relevant post-election, and INEC was forced to deregister them. And it does take also procedure to getting parties deregistered.
Indeed. I mean, I listened with intent to your conversation with Mr. Rotimi. Staying on subject matter, pretty insightful, answered the relevant questions as regards the subject. And I think it's important to mention that when we're talking about political parties, we're not talking about associations. We're not talking about groups, societal groups. We're talking about political parties, people, organizations that are calling for the mandate. I know we have trivialized mandate and vote in this country. Because the people buy it for 4,000 naira does not mean it is cheap, or it should be cheap, or it should be trivialized, or become pedestrian that can be stepped upon. So it's a big deal. And so I think INEC is well within its right as an institution to ensure that they do all they can. It just can't be anybody, any DTH.
Any comma affair.
You just like you have some extra cash in your hand. You rent a 3-bedroom flat in Gariki and you feel like you can use as a headquarters. I mean, that is not bad. Nobody's saying that people cannot come together as an organization and say we want to contest for this political office. But however, I strongly agree that it should be a thoroughly looked into process, and that kind of thing, it will take time. So yes, I mean, by all means.
And given what he said, there are quite a number of the phases where there's a given time.
Yeah.
Like, for example, it takes 60 days for the vetting process.
Yeah.
It takes this number of days. But if you see that they have a lot of intent sent to them, it means that whatever they need to expand the office where they're dealing with that to meet within that stipulated time
Kim,
also.
here's what I think. I sincerely believe that anybody who is serious about change, about service, about serving via a political party, I sincerely believe the moment an election cycle ends, start your process. If you're just starting your process to register a political party, are you really serious? I mean, I'm not even trying to sound harsh, but that's the honest truth, because we know, not just to political parties, even people that do not have PVC, you know that, okay, by next year, January, everything will begin to heat up. You do not have you want to transfer your PVC. You were staying in Ondo State or Imo State. You're now in Abuja. You want to transfer. Everyone will start running. This is last minute. So any political party that wants to register, I believe that INEC has its doors open, except with that's a question that can be answered, whether there's a time frame when the letter of intent can come in. That's a different conversation. But
but he didn't say that. But there's a deadline as to when it can come in.
That it cannot go beyond
1 year before an election. You can't begin to want to register a political
rightly
party.
so. I think that if you're serious about serving, about change, about this and that, and not just the usual rhetoric of political jobbing that we get to see. The last election was in 2023. What happened after? It was not in December. It was in February.
There's a lot of political calculation, machination, maneuvering that happens in Nigeria. It's like the more you see, the less you understand. You never can tell if there's a need for a new political party on things start to align or disalign. That's when you say, for example, we have like the ADA party. It's a function of the fact that you're having people who are pulling out from different parties and saying, okay, this isn't working. We need to form a brand new political party. Even though it feels like I've read people's thoughts on this and say it is just one of those poison pond where it just feels like we're going to distract them with this whole registration, and our plan is to form a coalition. So it could be that, it could be anything. However, there is a process, because 2-3 people can't come together, like you say, and decide overnight on whims that they're going to form a political party. We had to register about 70 of them. And there are a lot of people who admitted, even during the election, that they were confused by the logo.
It was very confusing.
It felt like almost the same shade and all of that. Now, you don't want to see that happen again. You want it to be very distinct and clear. And I don't want to be overwhelmed with too many political parties that are at zero at the end of the day. You just know that it's either they are stooges for another political party to cut down numbers of who knows how they do
market share.
But there's a lot of these parties that are registered for that intention. It's not as if they don't intend to win, they don't plan to win, they're not working to win, but they just hope to get some of the vote coming from. It's a strategy on its own.
I have an opinion, very unpopular, Kim, and please, some people are saying that the process. I think that the process of party registration the standard should even be raised higher. That's what I sincerely believe, because this is a problem. I remember vividly, there was a particular political party, I'm not going to mention name. Their logo looked very much like one of the two biggest in the country. Very much. It was too alike. I saw the thing. I'm very sure that people who are not as informed might have had an issue. And this is a problem. So we need to look at common ground, at a very fine background, a very fine, line in between. How do we ensure that this is not just some people coming to make a mockery of the entire process, and not just, getting us frenzied up
at the end of the day? So 122 letter of intent received by INEC. All of them, this association, want to be political party. If they all qualify, coupled with the 19 we have, boy oh boy, you'll be flipping pages.
By the way,
on election day.
Also remember that this means, although that shouldn't be a problem, more logistics for INEC.
Most definitely.
More operational costs.
Most definitely.
During the election cycle. The ones on ground, how far? The ones on ground, how far?
All right then. So let's get to hear from you. 0700 951 0000. Hello.
Good afternoon, Sister Kimberly.
Good afternoon. You're welcome.
Sorry, my name is Jaya. I'm calling from Wari. My question is this. When the I believe that is preaching to me. Like this year now, like 2027 that they are going to hold the election, which can be the proper registration for the association of the political, registration of the political party? That's number one. That's my question. Number two, what I want to ask INEC, those people that are ready to say, when is it ready for a head, like a PDP that is displayed now, maybe PDP now, are they going to delete the PDP from the issue? If I thought that maybe the people, all the people that in PDP come to another party, please, that's my question. Thank you.
All the people in PDP cannot decamp. Even if they all decamp, I expect the Bauchi state governor to still be there.
The same PDP that is fighting for its life. You want them to do so.
He says all of them decamp. In that case, they no longer have a party now. They might as well deregister. Hello.
Hello. Okurora, I greet you.
You're welcome.
Thank you, ma. You're not just from Niger State. The chief servant of P2B for the masses. Okurora, let me ask you this question so that when the secretary comes, you see asking the question. What will it take at INEC to register the people that want to come together as a party? That's a collusion. You understand? What will it take? You see, it is the same process so that we know what Amechi is telling us. You understand? So that is it. Thank you.
All right. Thank you very much. The coalition has not said they are coming out as a political party. They joined with an existing political party, which is the ADC. ADC has been registered before now. So it's for them to build their leadership structure and work with it. Hello.
Good afternoon, Kim.
Yes, sir. You're welcome.
Justice of Peace.
Welcome to the show, sir.
Kim.
Yes, sir.
I think the question, you didn't ask directly to the guests, but I wanted to is there no a time frame that when one apply for registration of a political party, it must last? Okay, I heard that it must do it before a year to the election. Because making it look as if scrutinizing the logos, the names, the deeds will take. For God's sake, I'm very sure we have a large number of personnel in INEC, and this thing shouldn't be something that will take forever and ever. And okay, if the Constitution says register as much as parties, they should just go ahead and do it in as much the political party meets the requirement. They should go ahead. But it shouldn't just come and last long. But lastly, Kim, I would have want you also to engage an INEC staff. Let's really know what really caused the glitch of last election and what has been done to, prevent further. Because I think because of that alone, this untrust between the voters and the INEC have risen to a higher level. So I will please ask that you engage either INEC educational personnel to let us know so that we will know whether this is going to happen again or it will not happen again and what was the cause of it last time. Thank you, Kim.
All right. I think it will take a while for INEC to shake its reputation around not uploading real time the presidential election result, because that was basically a promise made to Nigerians that results were going to be uploaded real time, and the failure to do that for the presidential, because for the governorship it worked, and subsequent elections we didn't have governorship, we didn't have a problem with that. We had
governorship before presidential.
Yeah, we didn't have all of that problem. We had presidential. Then governorship happened after.
Oh yeah, that's true. That's true.
So it's left for that bit of doubt. The umpire needs to go out of his way to assuage the fears Nigerians have that it might repeat itself again. They said it was a technical glitch. There were all kinds of speculation as to who tried to do what to the server, to the system, and intercept what. But perhaps maybe explanation
I'm pretty sure that build up to the election, we're going to have more information as to what methodology INEC is going to...
Definitely, that's going to come up.
Yes, so...
And I know they want to be careful with the promises they make this time around.
I'm very sure. I'm very because I'm very sure if you take a poll right now, many Nigerians, they are not even really particular about the political parties being registered or not. They want to ask the questions around the votes as they are coming in. Want to
be seen in real time.
How then, of course, diaspora voting too. How can we engage our Nigerian brothers and sisters across the world to also join in the elections? These are some of the biggest issues on the minds of people.
We'll have to amend our electoral act for that.
INEC will get all of that, and
Indeed. Let's take more feedback. Hello.
Hello, good afternoon.
Yes, you're welcome.
Yeah, my name is KGB.
KGB, talk to us.
Yes, if your guest, the other person is listening, beg, with the allegation, it's not even allegation, let's call it allegation of Rotimi and it is crystal clear, fine affirmation that the INEC don't tell you anything true. And we see them, general agreement, agreement I can put it, in Nigeria today, is that they are highly, extremely corrupt and incompetent. Listen to what your partner was just talking about uploading. After spending how many billions, and they promise they are going to upload this, and at the end, their chairman will be telling us that we should go to court. That is crystal clear that they are highly incompetent and corrupt. But let the guy can, if he can respond, that is no come up.
You've already concluded on the matter. I doubt even if he was here, would have anything to say afterwards.
Quite conclusive.
All right, we'll take one more and then we'll shift to the next part of the show, which is looking at the global update. Hello.
Hello, good afternoon.
Yes, welcome.
All right, Kim, this is Chris. Anyway, I'm by Express, West Press.
Go ahead.
The other day you were able to go to SCT Minister to go and ask the question. A lot of us are very happy here. I beg, can you go again? Not this time around, not to the SCT Minister. Is there any way you can help us as Fabio and possibly get to Speaker House of Reps to ask them what is happening with the Electoral Act amendment? Maybe to make a provision for independent candidates. Because when the desirable is not available, the only available thing becomes the way out. If we have independent candidates, I can tell you, this will go a long way in reducing the number of people jostling, or should I use the word angling, to register some Muslim parties as a way to possibly use it for negotiating power. I don't know if you get what I'm saying.
I'm listening.
For example, there are some people, some good Nigerians, who are determined or who are looking for an opportunity to get to corridors of power, to be able to have that burning desire to make Nigeria a better place to live with their own positive contribution. But because the platform through which they can get to that power is not what is readily available for them. And even the ones that are already in existence become so corrupt to the extent that they are not able to get their way into the heart of those the platform. Now, the unavailability of independent candidates has been a problem.
All right.
So, isn't there a way you can actually interview these people to know what is in the mind of the Senate? Because I don't know why they are there, as far as I'm concerned. Because these are the burning desire of Nigeria to at least have independent candidates that people can actually come out and vote. Leave all these mushroom parties everywhere. Because they use it to look for money.
All right.
That's what they do.
Thank you very much. I appreciate. All right, people, let's go on a break. Here's Akon with Pot of Gold. And when we come back, we'll be looking at some global updates. Stay with 95.1 Nigeria Info.
This is Nigeria Info.